Okay, everyone, welcome. Welcome. Let's make sure this is silent. So tonight, first of all, I pray, let's all say a little prayer that the video should actually work and shouldn't. Last time, I'm sorry for those who let me know, and on both on the Facebook and the YouTube, it was a little choppy and the end cut off. I don't know exactly why. Let's hope we have a smooth broadcast today and everything goes well. If you don't mind giving me a minute, I need to get myself a cup. My coughing is a little better, Baruch Hashem, but still can use a moment. Okay, I'm back. We should get started. Tonight's share I want to dedicate L'schus Refuah Shalema for David ben Shoshana. David ben Shoshana should have Refuah Shalema, Gemura. So tonight's share again for David ben Shoshana, and I also would like to dedicate it to Refuah Shalema for Gershon David Ben Blima Sheva Elka. Needs a Refuah Shalema. Has not been doing well already for 2 weeks, but then just a few hours ago things took a turn, and we really need to have him in mind. Please Hashem, he should be Refuah Shalema, Gershon David Ben Blima Sheva Elka, and being that the shir is all about miracles, may we see a big miracle for him. Okay, so this is going to be from a talk. Usually we learn L'kutei Torah, Torah Or. Now we're going to learn a sicha, a talk, the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave on Shabbos HaGadol, the last Shabbos HaGadol that we heard him physically speak, Ches Nisan, Tafshin Nun Aleph 5751. It's a spectacular sikha. It's very special, very powerful. Now let me give a little bit background. The Rebbe said this when he was, the Rebbe's birthday is going to be on Sunday, Yud Aleph Nisan. And the minhag by Chassidim is that it's a tradition from the Baal Shem Tov, and I spoke about it in the Monday shir as well. So I spoke about it in the Monday shir as well, that we say a kapitel of Tehillim always, every day of the year that we're in. So if you are 18 years old, you will say chapter 19. And on your 18th birthday, you start chapter 19. On your 19th birthday, you start chapter 20. So Chassidim have the minhag that in addition to their own chapter, people say the family members, its children, your spouse, so on and so forth. The Chassidim have the minhag to say also the Rebbe's kapitel. So that year, the Rebbe was reaching the age of 89, so they started saying kapitel tzaddik. And so in this talk, he's going to address kapitel tzaddik and make a connection to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was 80 years old during the redemption. The redemption came through pakadati, through a pay. The Rebbe then was becoming 90 years old. The future redemption is going to be through the letter tzaddik, which stands for the secret of the future redemption, is tzemach tzomachti. I've made the plant grow forth. So the Rebbe is talking about why you need Moshe Rabbeinu. Why can't you have a geula without Moshe Rabbeinu? The power of in other words, the whole teichen of the Sikha was the concept and the idea of what does the Redeemer's real role, what's his real inyan in the whole power of the redemption, and particularly he's connecting it to Kapitel Tzaddik, because that Kapitel starts with Tefillah LaMoshe Ish Elokim, a prayer for Moshe, who was a godly man. So he's going to discuss that idea of Tefillah LaMoshe Ish Elokim. So let's read inside. Der Inhalt von Chodesh Nisan, der Chodesh HaGeula, the content of Chodesh Nisan, which is the Chodesh of the redemption, was wird also angerufen Hashem, it's in Yiddish, I'm going to translate it. Was wird also angerufen Hashem sein zentralen Inyan Chag Pesach. The month of Nisan is called the month of Geula, of redemption, because the main event of Chodesh Nisan is Chag Pesach, which Chag Pesach, the redemption came for the Jewish people, which is Man Chereseinu, the time of our freedom. So that month, which is the month of redemption, is speziell interstrachen in dem Shabbos for Pesach, is specifically emphasized and highlighted the Shabbos before Pesach, which means the theme of Chodesh Nisan, that it's a miraculous month. It's a month that has the power of redemption because it's a miraculous month. Nisan, we're soon going to see, has two nuns in it. It has the word nes in it. There's two nuns in it, and the sages say if you see a nun in a dream, you should wait for miracles. So since Nisan has nuns, it's all the power of miracles, and it has a special emphasis on this Shabbos Hagadol, Shabbos before Pesach. This year is very special because this year things are aligning. Mamish, there is a cosmic alignment that everything this year is exactly aligned with the first year when the Jews went out of Egypt. That it comes out also that Shabbos comes out on Yud Nisan. This Shabbos is going to be Yud Nisan, which was the same like when the Yidden went out of Egypt. And when they went out of Egypt, it was on a Wednesday night. Geulas Mitzrayim happened on a Wednesday night. And Be'ez Hashem this year as well. The Geula Rishayna, Geula Achrayna, which is first day Pesach, is Thursday, which was then also that way. Nisan is Malashon Nes. Nisan, he says, is the word Nisan is from the word Nes, and Nachmer, and even more than that, Nisan mitzvei nunin. Since Nisan has two nuns, it starts with the nun and ends with the nun, beweist of Nisei Nisim. As I mentioned earlier, Chazal say that if you see one nun in a dream, expect miracles. If you see two nuns in a dream, you can expect Nisei Nisim, miracles of miracles. Beweist of Nisei Nisim. The Nisim was v'niflois, was der Ebersh dort getan mit Yidden in dem Chodesh, harausnehming the Sefer Mitzrayim. So it's referring to the big miracles that the Ebersh did with Jews in this month when he took them out of Egypt. What were the Nisei Nisim? Well, we know all the unbelievable things that happened, but he's saying it has a special connection to this month because the month itself, the character of the month, it's a month of Nisim. Nisim in dem Inyan for Nisei Nisim nach Merzem Oistrik in Shabbos var Pesach. This Inyan of not stam miracle, but miracles of miracles comes to a greater manifestation on the Shabbos before Pesach. Von welches wird gebencht mit name is Baruch dem Yom Tov Pesach. We know the Zohar says that Shabbos is the source of blessing, and the entire week is blessed from Shabbos. So the upcoming week is blessed from Shabbos. That means that the real power of Pesach is already going to be there this Shabbos. The name is Baruch. So that's why, since Pesach is the time of the miracles, it's already, you have it already, and you found that the first time when Yidden were in the Mitzrayim, this Shabbos was a Shabbos of really powerful miracle. Shabbos Agadol, it's called Shabbos Agadol, because a big miracle happened on this Shabbos. What was the big miracle that happened this Shabbos? The Nes from Lamaka Mitzrayim Bivchoreya. The miracle that we say in the capital of Hoidu. I think it's Kuf Lamed. It's not Kuf Lamed Vav. I think it is. Yeah, Kuf Lamed Vav. It says Lamaka Mitzrayim, that the one who beats the Egyptians Bivchoreim through their firstborn. So this is not talking about what someone might think. It means that the Egyptian firstborn were killed And that's what it means. That's what David HaMelech is singing, and he's saying, Ki Yolam Chasdei, because God's kindness is forever. It doesn't mean that. It means, because then it would say, Lamake B'choirei Mitzrayim, that he killed the Bechorim of Egypt. It doesn't say that. Lamake Mitzrayim, he beat the Egyptians, B'choireim, through their firstborn. Which means that the firstborn of Egypt itself brought a plague on Egypt. What does that mean? What is the story? So the story is that when the firstborn of Egypt found out about Moshe's warning that there was going to be the plague of the firstborn, they knew that Moshe Rabbeinu can be already believed. We can take him for his word. He has already proven himself 9 times accurately. So they got really scared. They knew they were going to die. So they came to Pharaoh, they came to Paro, and they asked for that Paro should let the Yidden go out of Mitzrayim. Paro refused. And they went out, and they rioted, and it actually they revolted. And there was a civil war in Egypt. And that was the big miracle. Lamake Mitzrayim, the Egyptians themselves were campaigning for the release of the Jewish people, that's the big miracle that happened on Shabbat. When did it happen? Shabbos Hagadol. Where he says, the Balatanya and his Shulchan Aruch explains, this is the miracle, because there are other places that pin the miracle of Shabbos Hagadol on something else, that the Jewish people were told to take a lamb and tie it to their beds, and even though we did that, and it was considered the deity of Mitzrayim, the Avodah Zarah of Mitzrayim, yet they weren't able to stop it. The Egyptians were able to, you had to watch, they couldn't do anything. So that was considered the miracle. That says in other Mefarshim. The Alter Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch doesn't bring that. He brings only this miracle. He seems to feel, for whatever reason, that this is the Iker Inyan of Shabbos Hagadol. The Kavu Nezel is a Karan L'Doris b'Shabbos. They instituted it on Shabbos. The Karu Shabbos Hagadol, and that's why it's called Shabbos Hagadol. This is the big mer. Unach mer, and it's even more than this. Shabbos Hagadol hois haschalas hageula v'hanisa. Then the Shulchan Aruch Harav, the Alter Rebbe, adds, in addition to this miracle that happened, in general, this was the beginning of the series of miracles that was. So therefore, this is the beginning of the Geula, it's the beginning of the redemption and the beginning of the miracles. Fun Yetzias Mitzrayim of Yetzias Mitzrayim itself. That's why there is a minhag brought in Shulchan Aruch that on this Shabbos we actually say the Haggadah. We don't say the whole Haggadah, but we start from Avodah Mayinu, from after the Manishtana, and we say Tul Chaper al Nafsho Yisenu. That's like one passage after Dayenu. Till Rabbi Gamliel says, if you don't say these 3 things, till there, you say, it's a nice chunk of the midsection of the Haggadah that we say on Shabbos Hagadol. And that's because we're already feeling the redemption. So that's why we're already thanking for the redemption and saying the Haggadah. Darf man verstehen? He's asking a simple question. Why is this such an important, significant miracle, that the miracle that the Egyptians themselves, that the Mitzrim were beaten by the Bechorim, by the firstborn, Angarif and Anez Gadol. There are many miracles, and this is one of the miracles. Tzvardeya is not called Anez Gadol, it's called a miracle. And Kinim or whatever, and Shchin, it's not called a big miracle. It's called, even Barad, which is like the hail that came, mixed fire and water, which was like unbelievable. Yet, it doesn't say anywhere it was a Nez Gadol. It's one of the miracles. And yet, Dafka, the Makkah Mitzrayim, which is kind of a natural thing, because it would be self-understood that the Egyptians, the firstborn who were going to be targeted, were terrified. So of course they went to fight. So it's not like something beyond nature happened. So in what sense is it a Nez Gadol? And especially here, the Rebbe doesn't say it, but in another place he asked the question. It didn't even lead to anything, because in the end, this revolt was put down. It was what's the word for it? It was squashed, crushed. And the Jewish people did not go out of Egypt on that Shabbos or on Sunday. They had to wait till Thursday, till God actually did Makas B'chores to take them out. So in what sense is this? It is bigger than all the other miracles. In was besteht die Gadlus von der Nes? Why is this considered such a big Nes? Because das is, and so much so that we say even more. This is considered the beginning of Haskalas Hagula Vanisim, the beginning of the redemption and miracles. Why not makas choshech. Why wasn't it? The luchur nachanes when sufficient with the day of Shabbat, the Karan Ladoira instituted from on the 14th. You see, we should make it Sagadol systems and forth so powerful that because we have a proper man to give over the shliach, we wouldn't have it. No matter Moshe, it says Moshe, no matter what whatever argument Moshe gave God insisted, no, it's you. It's a sign that it had to be Moshe. It could not be anybody else. Moshe was predestined for the redemption. From the very beginning of his creation, he was created to be the Redeemer. The makeup of his soul, the way he will soon see, was that he can facilitate the redemption. No one else can do it. He can do it. It wasn't like that Hashem, was kind of desperate because, as the pasuk seems to describe, that the Jewish people suddenly cried out, I forgot when Moshe, so then like when you went on is that redemption. The key I will be for you, and you will know. Okay, sorry for the interruption. I didn't realize that we were out, so I'm not exactly sure where you cut out. But I'm going to start over here in the middle of Beis. As he said, we were learning how Moshe Rabbeinu is essential to the redemption, and without Moshe Rabbeinu, there is no redemption. When we see that even Aaron was secondary, the Eibishter insisted Dafka Moshe should be the redeemer. So much so that Chazal even say that Moshe Rabbeinu is the first redeemer and the future redeemer. That means there's no redemption without Moshe. That means that even though it doesn't mean that Moshe is going to be the physical redeemer, because the redemption has to come from David, a descendant from David HaMelech, it has to be from Shevet Yehuda, can't be from Shevet Levi. Yet, it means that spiritually, it says that Mashiach's neshama is going to be a combination, a hybrid of David HaMelech together with Moshe Rabbeinu, and together that's going to combine and make a soul that's far greater than both of them, which is the ultimate neshama, and the neshama of Mashiach Tzidkenu is going to take the Jewish people out of Golus. But you see, with which power is it? The power of Moshe. And we also know that Yetzias Mitzrayim, which was done by Moshe, is considered the key to all the redemptions. So we see how Moshe is everything regarding Geula. So we need to understand why that is. So now I'm going to start Sif Gimel. The Nekudas Abir Bezeh, the point of the explanation in all of this. The Tachlis from Gulas Mitzrayim is the purpose of the of the Geula of Mitzrayim is V'lakachti eschem li le'om v'yisi lachem lelekim. It's a pasuk in Parshas Va'era where the four languages of Geula, the Arba Lashonos Geula, are stated. So it says, I will take you to be for me for a people, and I will be your God. Because I'm taking you out of Mitzrayim because I want to have a relationship with you. And what? You will know that I am your God. You will know that I am your God that takes you out from beneath the load of Egypt. And by Matan Torah, Hashem said, I am your God, that I took you out of Egypt. Does haste? So what does that mean? That means that when Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, it wasn't the purpose of the Geula wasn't just merely to get us out of the suffering. We were not doing well, and Hashem had to take us out of Mitzrayim. That's not what it really was. Because if that was all that was needed, then Hashem did not have to make such a to-do. He didn't have to make such a show when he took us out of Egypt. He could have made it simply. Paro could have had woken up one day and decided that the Jewish people are dangerous in his country. What? They got a virus. We got to kick them out because else they'll make everybody sick. I don't know, something like that. Well, why did the king of Spain, Ferdinand and Isabella decide one day to get rid of the Jews? So what happened? So Paro could have done the same thing. Or I don't know, whatever could have been much simpler. Why did it need such a show? It's because the Eibishter wanted to make a display of his power and his might. For who? So that the Jewish people will know God's power. That's what we will know him. We will know that Hashem, who we're here to serve, is an omnipotent being who controls everything, and has complete veto power over every natural cause. Now, because he's the source of nature, and he can override nature, and he can change it and do whatever he wants, and we need to know that. Das heißt, as der Gilui Lakus Lamata Begulus Mitzrayim, the godly revelation that happened by Gulus Mitzrayim is bichdei, is for a reason. As Yidden wie sie können sich in Welt, that the Jewish people, as we find ourselves as regular people in a world on its own, we'll soon see, is a world of concealment. It's a world that does not tell you about a God, about a creator, about a superpower. Everything seems to follow a certain repetition, a certain consistent pattern, which makes things just look like, what we call Mother Nature. And this is the way it is. And as we are in that world, experiencing all the distractions and all the ordinariness of life, in the midst of that, we should recognize the Eibishter. Zol dazen and anerkennen, a Yid should see, and he should recognize in wissen der Eibishter, and he should know Hashem. That means that we should know God. That means anything that happens. If we're in trouble, any situation, we get that. So our first reaction is not to turn to natural means of assistance. The first thing is, God help me. That's the first thing, because the Eibishter is very real to us. And the same is when something good happens, it seems just like a natural good fortune that came about through natural means. A Yid recognizes immediately, Baruch Hashem. I have to do an extra mitzvah, I have to give more tzedakah, I have to do something because the Eibishter did a chesed for me, did a kindness for me. That is crucial, that in the world, while world is being a world and the regularness of everyday life, we recognize the Eibishter. In Dozal Onnem, in Zon Onnem, and the Noch by Matan Torah, and then afterwards by the giving of the Torah, the Torah and mitzvahs from the Eibishter. As a result of our recognition of him, we should be happy and excited to receive the Torah and the mitzvahs. In Dorech Zeir Avodah, and these are like instruments that the Eibishter gives us so that we can continue revealing God in the world. In Dorech Zeir Avodah, and now through our work that we do in the world, and plecken Getlichkeit ba'ofen kavua v'nitzchi. So now we're going to be able to reveal godliness not through miracles anymore, but through a consistent manner through our observance of the mitzvahs. We bring to the forefront the godly powers that are embedded in creation, and eventually it creates and sets the tone and the environment for much higher revelations or much higher divine powers that are within nature, the infinite powers of Hashem that are going to be revealed, so much so that we should be able to create in the physical world a place for God himself to reside in. And in a manner that is permanent, that this is his residence. In Zeir Leben, you reveal Hashem in your own life by living in a godly life. And you reveal the Eibishter in your chelik in the world. Where this was expressed and this was revealed in the Mishkan, which is the tachlis, from Yetzias Mitzrayim and Matan Torah. V'asuli, like you see, I mean, in Chassidus, he's one of the geschmacka things in Chassidus. In Chassidus, you see that you have the emphasis is not just, Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kabbalah Satorah will receive the Torah, and that's it. In a lot of circles in amongst the Jewish people, that's it. It ends with Kabbalah Satorah. Okay, it was nice to make a Mishkan afterwards, and Hashem can come and reside there, but they don't give too much significance to the idea that the Shekhinah dwelled with the Jewish people. That's not as significant as the fact that the Eibishter comes, Ilu Karvano Lefnei Har Sinai, V'Nasal Lano Satayra, or the Eibishter gave us the Torah. That's like the great thing. But when we see Taka de Dayenu, in the end we say, ultimately, what's the purpose? What's the final Dayenu that we have to thank Hashem? Ubana Lano as Beis Abchira. He built for us a Beis Hamikdash. Why? Because from the Chassidic perspective, the Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, is a prelude to something deeper. Through the Torah and the mitzvahs, we can bond with God, so much so that Hashem can be fully revealed in this most concealing dimension of existence, which is physicality, and down here below, Hashem should be revealed. In them Beis HaMikdash, which the Mishkan is considered already a kviyos, because it's not like a one-day revelation. Every day when the Jewish people were in the Midbar for 40 years, almost 40 years, they didn't build it immediately, they woke up and can look outside the window or walk outside their tent and see over there the dwelling, the clouds, sitting right on top of that Mishkan. And then it lasted when they continued in Eretz Yisroel and the other Mishkans. But that's permanent. But the real permanence is the fact that it was there constantly, day and night, weeks and months and years. But the ultimate permanence is when it translated into because this is still considered a mobile home, they moved from place to place, translated into the Beis HaMikdash. In Ochmer B'Kviyas, in the Beis HaMikdash, Rishon V'Sheni, this first Beis HaMikdash, second Beis HaMikdash, U'Betachlis HaShleim is V'Tezayin Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. And the ultimate perfection is going to be in the third Beis HaMikdash, Migdash Adna Koinenu Yadecha. The Beis HaMikdash of Hashem, that Hashem himself is going to make, because the first Beis HaMikdash, second Beis HaMikdash lived, they lasted for, each one for over 400 years, but it's not forever. The ultimate tachlis is that God should reveal himself in this physical world forever and ever in the third temple. Bayis Nitzchi, the Geula Mitzvah Vashleima, and the complete redemption. In Darech Dem, and through this, and even that is not the ultimate tachlis, because the Eibishter resides in the Beis HaMikdash, but that's only one place in the world. The ultimate tachlis is that he should be revealed everywhere. There shouldn't be a pina nidachas. There shouldn't be one forsaken corner in the world where God is not revealed. Everywhere we should see that the emes of existence is Einoid Malvada, is the Eibishter himself. And it should be seen in the physical. Where is that going to come? As a result of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, it's going to reveal it in the whole world. How do we get to the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi? The culmination of all our work of Torah and mitzvahs. Where do we get? What's our connection to Torah and mitzvahs? We received it at Har Sinai. And how? Because we went out of Mitzrayim. We recognized the Eibishter. We accepted the Torah. And then we applied the Torah. And then eventually we have a Mishkan and a third Beis HaMikdash. And so basically what the Rebbe just gave us over here is a crash course on all of Judaism. That's the Tachlis. Recognizing Hashem, Yetzias Mitzrayim, recognizing Him, forging a bond with Him, receiving His Torah, implementing the Torah to the point where you can reveal God in your life, and then in a permanent place in the world, and eventually in the entire world in the third Beis HaMikdash. Till you'll have the ultimate perfection. Then the ganze Welt and alle Menschen, when the entire world and all people in ear and all people that are in it, everybody will see the divine in a revealed way and in a perfect way. The glory of the Eibishter will be revealed. And all flesh will see that the Eibishter has spoken. That means it will be mamash b'guf gashmi. That's the purpose. Once we know what the purpose is, then we'll understand how the only one who can facilitate something like this, make a world that's created to be a concealment and a darkness, and bring within it godly revelation, and not just godly revelation, but to make it be permanent. And when we say permanent, we mean for all of eternity. The only one who can do that is a human being like Moshe. No one else. And why Moshe? because he's going to explain that Moshe is a hybrid. He really is. He's chatzi ish, chatzi Elokim. And we're going to see soon, even higher than Elokim, even Yud Kei Vav Kei, his soul is bound up even with Yud Kei Vav Kei. And because of that, Moshe Rabbeinu has that chibur, that attachment. On the one hand, he's part of the world. On the one hand, he's infinitely transcending the world. His soul is plugged into the infinite truth of God, and he doesn't change when he comes down, and that's why he's able to bridge the two together. But before he gets there to explain why it's Moshe, he's explaining, and this is the reason why the Geula had to come with such a display of miracles. Because it's only when we see a miracle that's beyond nature, it becomes revealed in an open manner the limitless power of God. Because if all we see all our life is only natural phenomenon, and we would never see that nature ever, to us, nature would be an absolute prison, which means we wouldn't possibly be able to recognize that there is a force that's beyond this natural order, because it never ever changes. But when we see a splitting of the sea, and we see the Hanukkah menorah burning for 8 days, and we see all the other miracles that we see, we say, so there must be that we are in a construct of nature, but there is a power beyond nature that's still actively involved with nature and is running nature and can change nature in whichever way. And he has absolutely he himself is not conditioned in any way by this natural phenomenon. So we should recognize that the Hashem is the boss over the nature in the world. And the Eibishter has a power to make a miracle which is beyond the natural conduct of the world. Either a miracle that's higher than the world, or a miracle that turns the world itself. That's changing. And what should it change? The natural order of the world, which the definition of the world is, the nature of existence is that it conceals God. Because the very notion of nature, which in Hebrew the word nature is associated with the word of submerged, sunk in the sea. Tibu, from the word teva, tibu, which means when something is submerged, you don't see it because the water is covering it. Right? So you ever go to the beach and you're looking and then you see a dolphin, it pops out, it's so exciting, and then he goes right back down, or a sea lion, and gone. Why? Because it's submerged. Unless very clear water and you can look down, but like this, you're looking out, don't see it, because in the water, even though he's there. So the same is also the Eibishter's input. God in the water, in the world, not seen, submerged. Nature conceals. And a miracle is like the sea, like the dolphin popping out. Verdeckt of the koyach hapoel from the Eibishter. Was is in Emfaran, which is inside of it. It does hat gegeben and get the koyach zu Yidden. And what's the purpose of it? And this, we see God, we see the miracles, we see Hashem. And then it gives us the power that we ourselves should not be so intimidated by nature. We should also be able to lift ourselves up beyond our natural conditioning. To live a life as a Jew means to do things that we're not always naturally inclined to do, and we would say, this is my nature. I can't do it. I can't. No, you see that there's powers, and if you're connecting to the Eibishter's will, you can get things done that are impossible. That's the whole point of being Jewish, is to do the impossible. To do the possible, you don't need the Jewish people. The whole concept of being a Jew, which means to be connected to God on a unique, special Jewish way, is that we have the power to live beyond our natural means. And das hat gegeben the Koyach zu Yidden, welche haben gesehen die Nisim Geluyim, which firsthand witnessed these miracles, as bezezel that inside of them they should. It's not just going out of the physical Egypt; it's going out of the mindset of Egypt. Befreien von die Bagrenets, and you have to free yourself to become freed from the limitations. Medidas v'hagbalas, the narrowness and measurements von der Welt von der Versklaffing zu weltisch Anoches, to go out from the limitations of the world and from being subdued to worldly social norms. There are a lot of social norms or social things that, like, you have to do so and so. Who says? Because everybody's doing it. I'm not talking about a good thing, self-quarantine, isolation. Now, yeah, everybody's doing it, and this is what we must do to keep each other safe. But I'm talking that certain things that people are doing, that there's just a trend. Everybody does it, so you can't go against the trend. I could go against the trend. I'm not enslaved to other things. Oh, you have to, whatever. You have to put away for retirement. Why? Because everybody's doing so. Because how are you going to live? I can give tzedakah. I can take care. The gods can take care of me. He can feed the 8 billion people on the planet and all the animals and every tiny mosquito. Take care of me as well. Right? So a Yid lives in trust in the Eibishter. If in Knechtschaft, being enslaved, I have to work like a Meshuggah because I have to put away and ensure my retirement and my this and my that and my children. Of course, every person has to make a keli, but that's it. And know that everything is really beyond nature. You don't have to be enslaved to the limitations of the world and particularly of exile. Beginning that we're not subject to the Egyptian exile. That because we witnessed those miracles. So the Rebbe is saying it's an amazing thing. The miracles broke, the miracles in Egypt broke Egypt in the physical sense. Dam Tzvardei, Akinim, Arav, all these 10 plagues broke Egypt in the physical sense, freed the Jewish people, allowed them out. But as they were breaking Egypt in the physical sense, it was breaking the Egypt that was poisoning the Jewish people. It was breaking the mindset, the world view of Egypt inside the Jews, liberating and freeing them from Egyptian bondage and spirit. It's the psychological Egyptian, from seeing the world through Egyptian eyes. Start seeing the world from Jewish eyes. And each plague was a breaking and a shattering of Egypt, freeing them. It corresponded also in the physical, because the physical and the spiritual are really synchronized and are really harmonized, really one. Cheres amitis, true freedom. And Aleph and Allah Akbar from all limitation. Koil di Akbalis from Levushay HaTeva. And we're freed not only from social things that are put upon us, but even from actual limitations of nature. That there are natural realities, and for a Jew, they're not so realities. For example, God commands us to keep our store open only for 6 days, not 7 days. And when the holidays come, the Yom Tov, you have to shut your store down for many more days. And someone will say, I have competition. All the other business owners have the store open all the time. And how in the world will I stay in business? And the answer is, you're not within the natural world. You're not within the natural world. You don't live in nature. A Yid lives beyond nature. And that's in everything, all elements. You want to, for just on a simple level, a person needs to live a life, and you have to, if you want to live as a Jew, you have to send your children to a Jewish school. They can get a Jewish education. You have to pay the private so you can get free public school. It's an enormous expense. And you say, how can I make it? How can I live? And yet, somehow or another, you didn't make it. How? No explanation. But because a Jew trusts in God, and he does what he needs to do, and Hashem takes care of the rest. So that means that a Yid is not subject to the levushim, for the garments of nature. And so much so that not only can we transcend nature, but we're even beyond, the Rebbe says, from the miracles that are enclosed in nature. That a Jew is connected to the miraculous that's not even enclosed in nature. Like the story of Purim, it was a miracle. It was a miracle that's in nature. But really, we're free even from those. We're not even subject that we have to remain somewhat in nature. A Yid, through his connection to Hashem, can actually live in the super miraculous. Even from that, we're not subject to that. If he does, now when is this going to be revealed for everybody to see? That a Jew is a supernatural being. This is going to be in the days of the Mashiach. When it will be, like it says, when you went out of Egypt, I will show you wonders. Niflois means wonders. And this year, by the way, is very strongly connected to the idea of niflois, because the root of the word niflois is the word pela, pay, and we're holding by tafshin pay. So wonders really mean in ganzen, something we wonder. It baffles our mind. We have zero explanation in it. Niflois in ganzen l'mayla maderech hateva, things that are completely beyond nature. The nisim for Yetzias Mitzrayim in Nochmer, like the miracles of Yetzias Mitzrayim, versus Purim. Purim is a nace, but it's not a pele, because you can understand kind of the back the backside of the story, why Achashverosh is intimidated and so on. You can figure it out logically. It's still very unusual, but yet you can give some kind of logic to it. Tis Mitzrayim, no logic. But he says by the future redemption, the wonders are going to be so great that they're going to be, even in comparison to the miracles of Yitzis Mitzrayim, this is going to be a wow. In a way that the Eibishter is going to show it to us. That Eibishter allein bavaise, in a manner that God himself shows us the miracles. When Hashem shows it to us, everything is revealed. You see, if we are probing, it's amazing how when you learn something again and again, you get to see new things. I'm seeing now over here something new that I haven't seen. I read this, and I actually taught this earlier this week to a group of people, and I didn't see this. This is Gavaldik. You see, if I'm trying to uncover something outside of me, then I'm uncovering one layer. There might be another layer. There might be another layer, because I'm uncovering from the outside. But if the person is revealing himself, so a revelation coming from, so I can decide, I can reveal everything. So it's not limited. So that's the difference. If it would say we will see miracles, that we will see it, then what is being seen? Whatever our eyes can see. Our enu means God is saying, I will show him. If God will show, everything will be revealed. Amplekt out. Side das was is shaykh zu werden amplekt nigla. So it will include, when Hashem is revealing things that are revealable. Maybe they're not revealed, but they're revealable. Side das behalten and nister. And even including things that are even deeper and hidden. As wird gesehen der emes in der pnimis von der negativis, we see the truth. When Hashem is showing us, we will see the truth and the innermost of the natural order. That means we will see the innermost and the pneumius of the natural order. That means even nature will see is really the godly workings. And even more than that, the full kaman organisis. We will see the full miraculous power of Hashem. Biz euch das was is in ganze nifla. We will see so high even the things that are completely wondrous. And there koyach of bringing geula zu Yidden, and that's the content of the whole thing. That we should be able to see even though we're living in a world that has a structure of nature, it's completely transparent. Of course, through our work and our participation. And we connect to the creator of it all, and we bond, and we communicate, and we can go completely beyond the very natural infrastructure that makes up our existence, yet our existence is not our existence. Our existence is because the Eibishter makes us into existence. So we can be in it, and our relationship with him, we can go completely out of it and see him and experience him and know him and go and actually know him and see him as we are still in it. It's unbelievable. The koyach of bringing geula to Yidden, the power to be able to bring this, and you think about it, this is the greatest contribution in all of humanity, because every other innovation, any other contribution is uncovering natural power. Within nature, you're uncovering the power of electricity. You're uncovering the power of radio waves. You're uncovering the power of a microwave. Whatever innovation you're uncovering, these are all powers that are powers of the world. But here we're talking about exiting completely the entire cosmic order of systems and reaching beyond the system and bringing the world into contact, and therefore giving accessibility to the creation, to all of humanity and everything that's here, to what is limitless. It's like crazy, and that's our Jewish contribution, and that connection, that shidduch, that unification couldn't just happen. You need the unique human being who God had initially set aside to be the one who's going to pull this off. In their Gili, in their Koyach, und bringen Gili zu jedem Gili, Lukus Lamata, Boyfen, and now, kommt das Davke durch Moshe Rabbeinu. This comes Davke through Moshe, by Alam Shal Yisroel is the Redeemer of the Jewish people. Come on. This is so sweet, so unbelievable. Wenn es verstehen, so we'll understand it in Sif Dalin. You know, you learn this. This is like Torah from a different realm. This is Torah from a different realm. The fundamentals of opening and building and the infrastructure. And it's so fundamental, yet so novel and so rich, and yet so simple. See, that's what's so powerful about the Rebbe. It's like so deep and so profound and so earth-shattering, yet so simple. Meaning to say, the same, like, you open up a writings of the Ari, you see mystical secrets, and it's the Pnimius HaTorah, but it remains like so complex and so otherworldly. This is like so. It's the same idea of Moshe Rabbeinu, to take the highest of the high and explain it to even children. It's like that's the idea. Accessibility while we're in the normal to what's completely abnormal. That's what I find in these talks. That man es verstehen, dadurch erklären, will understand it by first explaining why is it Moshe Rabbeinu that has that power. The Teuchen and Inyan v'Chiddush from Moshe. What's the novelty of Moshe? Was is bedugmed der Chiddush fin Inyan Agula. Moshe Rabbeinu is the same idea of the Chiddush of Geula. In der Far kum die Geula dafke durch Moshe, and that's why the Geula comes dafke through Moshe. The Arois gegeben in a Sefer Tehillim is more tzaddik. Now, how do we get to know Moshe? So let's see what Moshe Rabbeinu himself says about himself, or where David, whoever wrote the opening of it, about Moshe. What does it say? Remember I said that this is connected to the 90th, the Rebbe's 90th or 89th birthday, where they started saying Kapitel Tzadik, the 90th Kapitel, which began with Tfilah LaMoshe. Tfilah LaMoshe Ish Elokim, which starts with Tfilah LaMoshe Ish Elokim. A Tfilah for Moshe, the godly man, in his Messiah, and concludes, V'noyam Hashem Elokeinu aleinu, let the pleasantness of Hashem be upon us, U'maisei yodeinu koinenu aleinu, and the work of our hands should be established upon us, U'maisei yodeinu, the work of our hands, or our handiwork, koinenu, should be established, should be firmly established. So the Rebbe is going to examine both the beginning of the Mizmor and the end of the Mizmor. Tfilah LaMoshe means it's a prayer to Moshe. Even though it's part of Tehillim, the song was later, revealed maybe through David HaMelech. But it's not David HaMelech's own song. This was a song composed by Moshe Rabbeinu. It says Tfilah LaMoshe, a prayer for Moshe. So he's going to analyze the beginning and the end in order to get an understanding on the whole gist of the kapitel and what it really means. He's going to analyze the beginning and the end, and he's going to show that there's a certain repetition going on in the beginning and in the end. And he's going to explain what's the significance of that repetition. And he's going to reveal this deep idea behind it. The Mizmor is speziell ausgeteilt mit der Chiddush. This Mizmor is uniquely unique with the Chiddush, with the novelty, as it is gesagt geworden durch Moshe Rabbeinu. It was said through Moshe, Tfilah Moshe. And we know that Moshe Rabbeinu actually composed more than just this kapitel. He composed 11 chapters in Tehillim. From the most beautiful chapters, I can say until the most beautiful, but the ones that sound to us the most beautiful because we can actually understand them. From 90 till 101, till the last one 100. The famous Mizmor LaToda, let's say a thank you to God, right? Or L'chun Eranana, Shiru L'Hashem. These are all verses composed by Moshe Rabbeinu. And one of them is Mashili HaShabbos also, but that one was initially composed by Adam, and it was forgotten, and Moshe was the one who reinstated it, as we'll see. So altogether, how much did he make? he composed 11, and Tfilah LaMoshe is the first one. Is the erste from the Achad Asam Mizmorim, from the 11 songs, Mikan ad LaDavid Mizmor, Shamoshe Omram. From here until Kapitel 101, not including 101, these all 11, Moshe said them. Because Tarfun is moving from this, it's understood, as der Mizmor Gitarois der Teuchen von Avodas Hapoilas Moshe. This Mizmor expresses the content and the meaning of Moshe Rabbeinu and his effects al Yedei Tfilasai, his effects that he had through his tefillah, because he's davening. His davening is bringing down success to his work. So what is Moshe Rabbeinu's work all about? Koil zan pi'ula in Yidden in der Welt, which includes both his effect in the Jewish people and his effect on the world. And Chazal say, as v'hinoyam Hashem Elokeinu aleinu. Now, so where do you see that this kapitel is bringing and expressing Moshe Rabbeinu's chidush, Moshe Rabbeinu's impact on the world? When you look at the end of the kapitel, it says, we said earlier, let the pleasantness of Hashem be upon us, and the work of our hands, right? And the work of our hands should be established. That pasuk, Chazal say, is referring to Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing for the Jewish people when they completed building the construction, when they completed constructing the Mishkan, and Hashem did not immediately descend into their work. The Yidden were frustrated. They felt that all their work was in vain. They came to Moshe Rabbeinu and they cried out, and Moshe went and he gave them a blessing, and he prayed and he blessed them, and then the Shekhinah came down to dwell. So you see that that Moshe Rabbeinu's contribution, the Yidden could not bring the Shekhinah down. Moshe Rabbeinu contributed. He brought the Shekhinah. And what did he bring down? He brought godly revelation, which we said earlier that's the main avoda, so we're going to see, of Moshe Rabbeinu, to connect God and the world. And he accomplished it, not just in the Jewish people, but in the physical world as well. And you see, and that's what's expressed in this Mizmor, because the end of the Mizmor is talking about the Hinayam. So you see that this Mizmor expresses the impact and the uniqueness of Moshe Rabbeinu's power that others don't have. Only Moshe Rabbeinu. Siyum Mizmor, the conclusion of this Mizmor, is the brach of the tefillah. This is the blessing and this is the prayer for Moshe und zusammenhang mit der Ashras Shechina Mishkan. At the occasion when he was with bringing the Shechina to dwell in the Mishkan. He said, he said to them, let it be the will that the Shechina should dwell in your work. Let the pleasantness of Hashem be upon us. This says, as dafka tefillas Moshe hat aufgetan, that dafka Moshe Rabbeinu's tefillah accomplished the Ashras Shechina Mishkan, the dwelling of the Shechina in the Mishkan. In an oifen, and in what manner did it accomplish it? That it was in a manner that it was going to be permanent. See, that's the very important thing. To create a moment of divine revelation, maybe others can do as well. But to accomplish a permanence of God here, that's what Moshe was saying. It should be firmly established. It should be nailed down, and it's not going anywhere. That's the Chiddush. Grundpafestik. It should be strong and firm. Mitakvios. It should be with a continuity. L'dor dor, for generation to generation. And which is actually a pasuk in Tefillah LaMoshe. It mentions one of the verses over there, l'dor dor, for generation to generation. Which translates ultimately, even though so far the Mishkans were not really permanent, at least not to the visible eye, but in the third Beis HaMikdash they're going to be literally permanent. Chazal says a pasuk, as a Ma'aseh Yodenu koineneu. Chazal actually say it on the pasuk that Ma'aseh Yodenu, the work of our hands, koineneu, should be established, and established means it should never have an interruption. Is referring to the third temple. But the third Beis HaMikdash, in which God says in the future, I'm going to build it, and I will dwell my Shekhinah over there, and it's never going to be destroyed. Today I watched the video, which the person was sending it around as a sad video, and I got very happy. It reminds me of the story where Rabbi Akiva was laughing and they were crying. When you learn the Rebbe Sichos, the Rebbe trains you to think a little like him, that you're always seeing positive. So this guy was sending around this video how right now they literally, till now, they were trying to still maintain some kind of a Jewish presence, Yidden davening at the Kosel. So already last week Shabbos, they closed down the city, but the people of the old city were able to go have a minyan by the Kosel. Today they were taking their final pictures. The photographers came. You see the Kosel is empty. No one is there It's literally vacant and empty. And even the photographers, they were saying, are leaving. And the person that was narrating it was saying, Shchinte bigalusa, the Shechina is in exile. But the beautiful thing was, whoever sent it along with a woman. I guess she was, a little recording, she was telling her son or something. She says, don't read this for what it looks like. What's happening is that since I have a very strong feeling, she said, and I was so beautiful, that the Eibishter is now preparing, because the third Beis HaMikdash is going to come down, and God does not want that it should come down on top of a minyan. Yid not davening there. There's this whole building coming down. So he's clearing the area. God is literally saying, when you're doing construction, they clear or they close off an area, they quarantine an area, they're closing off the area. The same we find at 770 is also closed off. Beis Rabbeinu Shel, because it says, the Rebbe says in a different sikha, that Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi is going to come down first over there. So these areas are cordoned off. No one can come there. And we know the malachim, whoever, with the spiritual beings that we can't see, they're doing all the operations, all the construction workers and all, they're busy there. They're all preparing, and the Eibishter himself is going to send the third Beis HaMikdash. It's unbelievable if we're not, I can't believe we're not dreaming that we're seeing this with our own eyes, how the whole world is silent. And the magic is about to happen. It's so exciting that it's Shabbos HaGadol and it's coming to Pesach. And let's just fill ourselves with that amunah, that bitachon, that this is it. There's no going back. We're on a roll. That's the idea. Okay. Sifhei. The beer in them. So, but what do you see from here? That it's referring to the third temple, which is all expressed in this parak, Tfilah Moshe. The beer in them. So now he's going to show you what does Moshe Rabbeinu Taka have with this idea of bringing God down in a permanent way. And why is it only Moshe? The beer in them, an explanation of them. Behagdim, their diak and them kefil alashin. The inyan betchilas hamizbar and b'siyumai. We see it both at the beginning of the mizbar and at the end, what I mentioned earlier, that there is a certain repetition. The title, when it's telling us who is the one who this song is attributed to, it refers to Moshe, but it gives you a double reference to Moshe. Number one, it calls him Moshe. It also says Ish Elokim, a godly man. In the end of the parak, again you have a repetition. What does the pasuk say? Ma'aseh Yodenu, the work of our hands, Koinena Oleinu, should be established upon us. Ma'aseh Yodenu, and the work of our hands, Koineneu, should be established. Why the repetition? And even though you can argue, as I was going to say, that so is the style of poetry, and Tehillim is said in a form, the Psalms are said in a form of a song, and therefore you can have repetition. But even when that is, there is also meaning for it. There's a reason and there's a deeper understanding to the repetition. And especially in this kapitel, where you find the repetition at the beginning and at the end, which makes it unique from most other kapitels in Tehillim, that you don't have this. This kapitel has it. This parak in Tehillim, this song. The beat in Denbag, yeah. Was is the time of the kefil tefillah Moshe? First Moshe, in the noch zantayr ish elokim, a godly man. But that is a b'siyam mizmar. Same is also at the end of the mizmar. V'yinoyim Hashem elokeinu aleinu ma'aseh yadeinu koinen aleinu. Let the pleasantness of Hashem be upon us, and the work of His hands established upon us. In the noch hatzveiten mol, that it says it a second time. Ma'aseh yadeinu koinenehu, 2 times. Yeshloime einef in the biyurim and them. We can say now that the emphasis in Ara 43, footnote 43, the Rebbe actually shows that throughout the entire kapitel, you have a lot of repetition, not just in the beginning and the end. You have b'dor, like we said earlier, umei oilam ad oilam. Tashev enesh adaka, people do tshuva, a man will do tshuva. V'atoimer shuvu b'nei adam, and he says, return, do tshuva. And so there's more psukim. Yeah. Yashleim einef in the biyurim and them. We can say one of the explanations in this. I love the way the Rebbe gives like these brilliant, mind-boggling explanations. Then he says, what are the explanations? I would love to hear the other ones. It's like what's the idea? Well, the truth is we know. Chazal say that there's nothing in Torah that has less than 600,000. It says it's 70 Prushim, but there's also there from the Arizal, 600,000 Prushim in Pshat, 600,000 in Remes, 600 in Drush, 600 in Sod, in secret. It's crazy. So he says like this. In order to accomplish a drawing down and a godly revelation down here below in a manner of permanence, I will dwell in them That, number one, God will dwell, that's him. But that should be not just as a moment flash. It should be in a manner of kainenu aleinu, which will remain permanent, which is a contradiction. The world is finite and limited. God is infinite. So to have a flash, okay, he flashes and leaves. But to make it permanent, how does it, either or. Either the light, if it's entering into a finite place and captured, should stop being infinite. It becomes limited and disconnected. Or the world, if it remains in its full potency and its full infinity, then the world should give and stop being finite. How does it remain? How do you have these two? It doesn't make any sense. So you need to have two things. Tzvei Ktsav is two extremes. In Chiburim Yachad and the connection together. Number one, from within the world, you're limited to the boundaries of the world. Within the system, you have to work completely in accordance to the system. And like there's a rule, a prisoner can never redeem himself or free himself from the prison. Someone is tied up in a dungeon, can't liberate himself. You need someone from outside to come and cut the cords, let him out. And if there is a prisoner of nature, so we can't undo this prison. There has to be someone who's outside to come out and to bring us. So therefore, it requires a power that's above the system. A power. Now here you're dealing with something serious, because the power that systemizes the system is a divine power. It's God's power. But we know that the power of God that's in nature is already a subdued power, which means it's Hashem already limited this power. The name of Elokim, which is a constricted power, self-imposed constriction that God imposes upon it to act in a limited manner. But then there are powers of God that are not limited and not defined, and from these transcendental higher powers is where the effects come to change what is happening, to bring revelation and limitless energy into the finite world. Which is the conduct of the world. But also, it has to be something that is powerful, in Welt, which can bring into the world Gilui Elokus, godly revelation. Which on its own, the godly revelation is not there in the world. Why? Because the world is a concealer. The world is a concealer. On its own. But even more so. It's not only that this godly power is coming into the world, but it's actually going to change and transform the very world itself, that the nature of the world will cease to be a concealer. It will become a receptacle to the godly light. And if it becomes a receptacle, it becomes a keli, it will express it. So it's not only, so the world as God created it is not a keli. It's created to be a blockage and an interference with anything that's not within the system. It's meant to block that and not allow that. So it's definitely not a receptor of it. It's not a conveyor of it. This power is not only here, we're not dealing just with a power that can subdue or silence the world and display this higher power, but to change the world itself, the nature of the world, to be able to receive it and express it, which is what a mishkan is. A mishkan is the materials of this world are acting as a conduit and as a form of display, and and not just temporarily, they're acting like a person says, I'm not myself. It's not like these materials are acting in a way where they're not themselves. No, they are themselves. That's the chiddush. That means that they have inherently changed to become a keli. Bis zu übermachen die Welt. Till this power, so if it can change the world, it has to be very powerful. It's one thing if it can crack the world open. It's another thing if it can actually have such impact to change it itself. Zizol werden a keli of Gilui Elokus. She should become, the world itself should become a vessel for godly revelation. Ubifrat noch in an oifen shel kviyas v'nitzchias, and particularly in a manner of permanence. So you need to have a really true superpower to do that. Because from within the power, now the worlds have a lot of powers, like malachim and so on, which are all the powers of nature. And they're really cool beings. But they're all part of the system. And if they're part of the system, oh, now he's adding another idea. The main emphasis in the last point, to be able to change the world, that the world itself should become a conveyor and a displayer of the divine. But the chiddush over here, that it should become permanently that way, the very notion, so it's a chiddush that it's going opposite of the way it was created. Instead of concealing, it's revealing. But there's another deeper point over here. The very idea, that the notion that it should be permanent. How can it be permanent? Nature, time and space, the whole construct is the opposite of permanence. Everything in the world is constantly changing. The nature of existence is to change, wear and tear. And when things change, eventually it disintegrates. So the ability that it should become a conveyor of God for all of infinity means a change, a opposite of what the world is. Because the nature of the world is. The world is all about change, man. Everything in the world is constantly changing. With the duration of time. So much so that we say that every hove, every constant, everything that exists, nifsad, deteriorates. So but all of this is to indicate, since the world itself is temporary and it has erosion, and by its nature is concealing God. So if we're going to change all of that, the changer can't have the same handcuffs. Right? He has to be free. And that means that the power has to be a beyond power. How much beyond? Totally beyond. But on the other hand, it can't be just a beyond power. Because if it's going to be a beyond power, but it's not going to relate, it's just going to come in like a bulldozer, blast the world open and introduce this powerful light, it's going to be phenomenal. But and again, even if it's going to force the world to change, it's never going to be an organic change. That means it's never going to be us. It's going to be forced upon us. And even if it's a delightful, compelling, it's still not us. It's like the Alter Rebbe explains by Matan Torah, even though we were compelled in the most delightful way, God overwhelmed us with His love, and we experienced a tingling all over our body and all in an entire being of ecstasy and bliss from being enveloped in God's words. But the fact that we received it and accepted it wasn't because of who we were. It was an outside influence. And therefore it's never true. It won't last forever because it's not really us. So in order for something to be us, it has to be a gentle prodding from within. It can't come as an outside. That's why one of the things I'm talking about a lot is the acceptance of Mashiach. And that we have to, now is the time for Kabbalah Samalchus of accepting Mashiach. And why, people say, so why wasn't we told explicitly that we have to do so? We were given all these hints, because it can't be an outside command. This is something that has to come from within. It has to be a recognition. It has to be understanding. It has to be that, isn't it obvious? Don't you understand this? And we choose it from within. Anything, the world has to open itself up. The Eibishter was already, like the Rebbe said in 1990 already, Mashiach was already downloaded. But it didn't come in a crashing force. It was God wants us that we should recognize it. We should invite it in. We should come to our own understanding how much we need it and how much. Right? So that's the second idea. Der Koyach darf herabkommen in sich mislabisch sein, bis zu sein be'erech zu der Gidrei Olam. This power needs to come down and it has to enclose itself. It's really a superpower that is infinite and limitless, but yet it camouflages and it dresses itself as if it's just a simple, regular thing. We're going to see soon, we're talking about a human being who's going to present himself to us like a human being, who eats, and you can touch him, feel him. And yet, it's totally not that. He's not that. He's camouflaged in that. He's dressed in that. So that, why? Because if he would be just what he truly is, then his influence would be what we call makif. It wouldn't be pnimi. We wouldn't internalize it. So it has to be like part of us. It has to be in our team. Just a regular one of the rest. But yet, we have to recognize, but still, he exhibits power that's beyond, because else he wouldn't be able to change it. So it's that combination. Like we find the general rule. We know the rule that someone who's refining needs to dress himself in the garments of the one that's being refined. That means if you're going to talk down to people from your high horse or from your high place, you're not going to have an influence on them. You have to descend to their world, the way they're thinking, and accept what they're saying, and yet, show them that you can look at it differently. You look at it from this angle, and this until they see it differently. They see it from your point of view. But you have to do it in a delicate way. Only then can you have a real deep impact on the one that you're fixing. You can make it be a permanent place for it itself internally to be a keli, to be able to receive that truth. If the revelation is from a higher place, which is not in any way related to the recipient, that it won't remain there permanent, but in a manner of makiv. So even while it's there, if you're not doing it in this way, you're just doing it by this blasting of power from above, so then what's going to happen is, even when it's there, it's going to be considered an external influence, and number two, it's not going to last forever. In order for it to last forever, it has to lower itself down. To the point that it can actually leave. It can depart. So these two inyanim of being completely a power that is not limited by anything, but at the same time being very much within and part of everyone, that was Moshe Rabbeinu's unique power. These two inyanim, Yashloimer does and these two inyanim in their kefil betchilas v'siyam izmer tzaddik. These two inyanim, which we can say is really the two inyanim in the repetition in the beginning of Mizmor L'Tzar. Remember we said, what does it mean? Tefillah LaMoshe Ish Elokim. So the Rebbe is going to explain that these two features, these two identifications to Moshe and Ish Elokim, is referring to these two ideas of Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu being a human being and part of the physical order, part of the creation existence, but Moshe indicates him being a godly being. It's interesting. We would think right away, Ish Elokim, he's a godly man. The Rebbe is going to explain how Ish Elokim is actually the lower side of Moshe. His being part of the world. And Moshe is the name of him that indicates transcendence. This was b'shleimus begili by Moshe. Was is the mamutza hamachaber. He is the one who is the mamutza. He's the one who joins together. He's the mediator that attaches between the Eibishter and Yidden. As Moshe Rabbeinu himself says, I'm the one who stands between God and you. A mediator needs to have within himself both parties or both entities that he's connecting. For example, if you're an interpreter interpreting from French to to Portuguese, you need to speak both languages, and only then can you serve as an interpreter. Ish Elokim Zagen Chazal. So first of all, he says this hybridness of Moshe, that he's both part of the world and above the world. First of all, Chazal already pointed out in the name Ish Elokim on its own, a godly man. So Chazal asked the question, Im Elokim Lama Ish. Where is it? This is a Medrash Tehillim. If he's divine, why is he calling him a man? Vim Ish. And if he's a man, Lama Elokim. If he's human, why is he Elokim? So the sages give an interesting answer. Mechetzi Yolamata, his lower half. Ish, he's a man. Mechetzi Yolamayla, his upper half. Elokim, He's a divine being. That means his intelligence, his emotions, it's not even human. Then his feet, it's human. And having these two things, Ish and Elokim, so therefore he can be the combination. Since he himself is this combination, he can affect it in the world, this combination. This is Arois Begili and Mishkan Moshe, like you saw in the Mishkan of Moshe. He attached God to the physical Mishkan. A physical dwelling was the home of the infinite being. He did it because he himself was that Moshe. But the Rebbe says, let's look at it more specifically. Yeshloimer, as die zwei Ktzavis in der Mamutze sind in die zwei Inyonim, Moshe and Ish Elokim. It's not the Ish Elokim that represents the two. What it really is, the Ish Elokim is one end of the equation, and a Moshe is the other. They're kefil b'tchilas hamizbah, which is the repetition at the beginning of the mizbah. Afal pivas Ish Elokim is a chibur from zwei Ktzavis, even though Ish Elokim is a connection between these two extremes. Ish and Elokim, Vizei Zenen and Ein Mensch Moshe. Now, even if we say Ish Elokim, it's already, a combination of two things. Ish and Elokim, like the sages point out. But the Rebbe says, if you think deeper, Elokim is not really the high name of Hashem. Elokim is the name of God, as he is enclosed, lowered down, self-limited to be a source of nature. Like we know, Elokim is Gematria. Hateva, Elokim is 86. Hateva is 86. So it's a source of nature. So even if you say that you have... Now we are totally creations, and we don't have in ourselves any at least conscious experiences of Elokim, right? Of the godly. That's the... We're living in the result, which is the creation, not in the cause. Moshe Rabbeinu was living both in the cause, the Elokim power, and in the Ish. Experienced it as being totally one with it. But yet, it's only Elokim. Moshe Rabbeinu is the name Moshe, as we're going to soon see, comes from the water, means that he's plucked from the power of Hashem that precedes existence, precedes creation, and that's the Yud Kei Vav Kei. Elokim is a chibur from zwei Ktzavis, from two already extremes. Ish and Elokim. These and in a mensch, how they are in one person, Moshe, is Aber. The Shem Elokim is Gematria HaTeva. The name Elokim is Gematria HaTeva. Das is the Darga in Elokus, was Titzach on and Balep Teva Olam. This is the level of the divine that is enclosed and enlivens the nature of the world. In the Rebbe state Ish HaElokim. Ish HaElokim. What does that mean? V'abchinas Ish, because the level of Moshe being an Ish, Mechatze Yolamata, which as we said earlier refers to his lower half, Fin Moshe, V'yad is verbunden mit Olam. So the Rebbe is learning like this. When we say that Moshe Rabbeinu is Ish Elokim, the Ish part is connected to the Elokim, to his upper half, and which would that be? The Ish Elokim. But his upper half really is not Elokim. The upper half is attached to and an extension of, as we're going to see soon, the levels much higher than Elokim. Vertnis Achid nor mit Elokim. His lower half becomes unified. And it's interesting how the Rebbe says these words. His lower half, via Steiten Welt, as he is within the world. Mashma that on his own, even his lower half is not limited by that. But as he has his feet on the ground, I'll give you an example to that, because when Moshe went up to heaven, he took his lower half as well. And then he experienced Torah, which is higher than Elokim. Godly revelation that's higher. So you see that when he's not on the ground, it can be beyond. The truth is, you can have that Moshe even when he's... because that's after he's also Moshe. He's bringing it down. Okay. Aber nicht mit Havaya, but it's not connected with the Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's connected, but not nisachet. It's not completely unified with Havaya, Shema Etzem, which is Hashem's essential name, prior to all the contractions. The Gat Lechan Pleking was his Hechafenwelt, the godly revelation which is beyond the world, Shenevras B'Shem Elokim, which the world was created through the name of Elokim, B'Reishis Bar Elokim. And Havaya is beyond Elokim, which is the world, which is the source of the world. So that's why Ish Elokim doesn't really indicate the loftiness of Moshe. Moshe, the name Moshe, far Ish Elokim, which is stated before Ish Elokim, is Al Shem Kim in Maayon Mishisihu, from the waters I have drawn him out. which Basia said she pulled out Moshe. So what does Chassidus, what does that mean? So she pulled him out of the water, big deal. Oh, yeah, his mother put him at the Nile, so she pulled him out of the Nile. What's the big deal? From Shem Ma, she's pulling him out from the name Ma, because the water over here is referring to Hashem's name equaling 45. So says the Mittler Rebbe, as he brings in Teres Chaim from the Mittler Rebbe, that waters that she pulled them out is indicating the lofty source of Moshe's Rabbeinu, of Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama. V'nachnu ma, and that's why we find that this was always a Moshe. Moshe says, "I am 45." V'nachnu ma. How can he say, "I am 45"? Because he comes from the water, which that she pulled him out of the level of ma, and we know 45 is Yud Kei Vav Kei. When you have the filling letters, when you fill it with aleph, come out to your 45. Shem Havaya, which is Shem Havaya, Hecher from Ish Elokim, which is way beyond Ish Elokim. Elokus Shalamayla Ma'abriya, which is Elokus that's beyond creation. The Yedua that Pirish in them, and we know the explanation in this, Ashoydish Nishmas Moshe, that the root of Moshe's neshama is from Adarga Gavoya Me'odis, from such a high level. B'chinas Maayon. Now, water, as opposed to earth, refers to a level of existence that is concealed, because in general, even though there is such a display, even though there is such a vast population of life that exists in the ocean, it's endless what's going on over there. It's a super aquarium, it's like unbelievable. Yet, we look at from the surface, you don't see anything. So that's why it's called a concealed level, Alma Discassia. Which is higher than earth and dry land. Which is the place where man lives, which is where, the revealed world. In Findarten, but the Chiddush was that Moshe Rabbeinu was pulled out of the water and he was planted on earth. In Findarten, in Maayon, Sihu, from there she pulled him out. Begoloi, to be revealed in Alma Disgalia, in the revealed world. Because the revealed world doesn't only mean this world. Even the higher realms are also called the revealed world. When we say concealed, we mean what's completely beyond the infinite dimension of Hashem. And yet, she pulls him down and she plants him with his feet on the ground here in the world. As he is, as you're looking at him, in a body, physically, Dolamata is a bigali. Even when he's down here, he's in a very revealed way. Min Amayim. You look at him, you see this person, otherworldly, but yet he's here. David Begaloi, he is connected in a revealed way to Makaira Lamaila, to his source above. So Moshe Rabbeinu is like while he's down here, he's like a fish. Fish are always in their source. Moshe Rabbeinu is always in a state of dveikus to the highest levels of the Ein Sof, but at the same time, he's a person, because he has to be part of the world as well. Kim tois as Moshe Ish Elokim, this combination of Moshe and Ish Elokim, expresses these two ideas of Moshe. Moshe indicates that even though he's down here, boots on the ground, he's still connected to Elokus, to the levels of the divinity that utterly transcends creation. Was gitter koyach, which that's the empowerment to megala zayin Elokus lamata. Without having a person who's connected over there, we don't have the ability to reveal godliness down here, because we said earlier, the nature of the world is to conceal. You need a power empowering us that's outside of the concealment, that can unconceal the concealment, that can change it for us. In Iber Machen die Welt, and redo the world. In Mamshach sein Nitzchias, and to bring eternity, which is also opposite of this world. As we said before, the nature of the world is disintegration. To bring in eternity into the world. Koyach habli gevol lamata, to reveal the infinite power below. In Ish Elokim, what's Ish Elokim? Zayin verbindalt Ish mit Elokusha be'erech habriya. His connection, because he's an Ish, with the godliness of the world, we said before, it's connecting only to Elokim. Why is the Eibishter doing that? Why give Moshe also a limited side? A side where he's only... The answer is, because he needs that as well, so that he can help fix the world to become a keli in a way that is very much part of our own thinking, our own experiences, so that we come to it from within ourselves. So that by doing that, it will be real to us. It will be our existence. Was does get der koyach zu mamshach sein alakus be'erach zu yidin neshamas begufim ba'olam. This gives the koyach to be mamshach alakus to neshamas that are in this world. But often azay ken and verin kalim. Moshe Rabbeinu wants to give us the Eibishter wanted that we should be, that not only we should have godliness, but in a way that we can become vessels to it. B'tzadin yonam him, and that is our nature, that we're a vessel for Hashem. Ba'ofin shel kviyas, and in a permanent way. It's a gilui alakus shebe'erach abriya, to the godly revelation that's first. And what will we become vessels for? First, we become vessels to the godliness that is contained within the world. And eventually, through the continuous refinement, we have access even to lift ourselves off. That means every Jew kind of becomes a miracle worker like the Baal Shem Tov, is able to pick himself up beyond the limitations of nature and to tap into the supernatural. To the point that we have God himself dwelling inside of us. Godly revelation that's beyond the creation, but everything while we are physical, while we're down here. And that's Moshe Rabbeinu's power. Unbelievable. Let's go to 7. Now we'll also understand the repetition in the end of the Mizbar. Moshe Rabbeinu says, what's the repetition 2 times? Since Moshe Rabbeinu himself is a combination of Moshe and Ish Elokim, was der Far is by Moshe Lamata der Inyan Anitzchias Ekvias Koyach Abali Gvul. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu, as he is down here, has this limitless power. Begilu in a revealed way. Where do you see that Moshe has the limitlessness down here in his own life? Well, the Rebbe says we see it from the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu never died. Chazal say because a limitless being doesn't die. And first he says you see it in Moshe's capital, that you see Moshe's in everything. He's limitless. When he speaks for every generation. Which person ever speaks for all generations? Moshe says something, he says, I'm speaking to every generation. As he says, Actually, here he's not emphasizing that he's speaking to every generation, but he says, but everything by Moshe is forever. Before the worlds were created, before the mountains were born, and forever and ever, Atakel, your God. For you, God, 1,000 years is like the yesterday, which is again emphasizing that that he's not impacted by the passage of time. And this eternity doesn't just remain hovering above the world; it gets drawn down into Moshe Ishalakim Zayin Dig Batal Tzalakus. Since he is so surrendered to Hashem that his identity is the divinity that's in him, not himself, and that's why he can draw that eternity of the divine into the creation. And therefore, what happens? Nitzchi is a Moshe Atzmai, that Moshe Rabbeinu is Nitzchi. In what sense? Moshe, as Chazal say, Moshe Leimeis, Moshe didn't die. Ubachol Dar v'Dar is da. And now, number one, Moshe himself didn't die. In addition to this, it says they buried him down. The same question you have on Yaakov Avinu. Azoyados, Moshe doesn't die. Ubachol Dar, and in addition to that, we know that Moshe Rabbeinu's energy and his soul continues on in every generation as well. Is da Ishpashtusa de Moshe. There is someone who carries. There is the expansion of Moshe in every generation. Even more so, there is a Moshe inside every single one of us. That means he's everywhere. He's in every Jew. He's in every generation in terms of the leader of the generation. But not only that's regarding himself, but also his powers are eternal. Everything he does has a permanence. And also in his powers and his details. The actions of Moshe are also nitzchiyim. He does something, it's forever. The Rebbe brings in Aaron 269, Kishleimus inyan nitzchiyis, because the perfection of eternity, hu dafki kashem shechas v'nikeres b'chol ha'pratim, is only when you can see it in all the details. If there is one aspect of him that's not forever, it's not eternal, it shows on weakness, even in the things that are going on. Because within the range of Moshe, within Moshe Rabbeinu's radar, there is something, there is an akuda that's possible to end, and that weakens the whole thing. His entire being is nitzchias, everything is nitzchias, meaning eternal. And that's the reason why Dafka Moshe had the power to mamshach zayin shchina lamata. He was the only one who can bring the shchina down. Again, this power. So now, when Moshe Rabbeinu davens for the Mishkan, because he is essentially connected up there to the shchina, to God, to the divine, he can draw it down. Let it be the will that the shchina should dwell in an anoifen fin koinena oleinu, and in a manner that it should be firmly established forever. That's all they have. Koinena, it should be established, not wobbly. It should stand firmly. Mitakvius, with an established standing. The doir v'doir. Biz as in der Maisi Yadenu koineneu vert angedeit die nitzchias von Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. So much so that it expresses the eternity, as we said earlier, of even the third Beis Hamikdash. In Moshe's Tefillah, he's already affecting that the third Beis Hamikdash should be forever, because it's all in the power of this human being who can channel from there. He is the one that God set up to be that channel, and that's it, the singular channel. She'einoi charav la'olam, it will never be destroyed. Keniskliel. And just like in Moshe himself, there's two inyanim. Moshe and Ish Elikim. Moshe and Ish Elikim. So a Moshe's bracha and a Moshe's tefillah, which means his avoda in the world, also has these two inyanim. Now what? The inyanim. Number one, Hamshachas HaShechina b'Mishkan. Number one, the ability to draw down the divine, the Shechina in the Mishkan, Elokush Shalamayla Ma'olam, in which he's channeling godliness that's beyond the world, because Shechina, in the sense that he's speaking about over here, is the entire Ebershter, even God as he's beyond the world. And Beis, Ba'oifen Azazvet Nislabish B'Pnimi Shalamat, in a manner that it's not outside of us, but in a manner that it becomes enclosed and becomes very much who we are. So that's the double, what seems to be a repetition in the last words of the parak. The work of our hand should be established upon us. This is a makif from above. It's above us. It has to be above us, because he's drawing down the Shechina. He's drawing down God. This is not shaykh to go inside of us. It's a miracle that it can even hover above us, and we can touch it. But then he says a second time, Umayse Yadenu Koinenehu, means it's not hovering above, but it becomes part of our Umayse Yadenu. As erbafestik di Umayse Yadenu atzma, that our actions of our hands themselves, the says as their koinenehu nem durich bepnimius oich Umayse Yadenu, that our actions themselves, which means who we are and what we are, is absorbed in this infinity and internalizes it. Nishna ba'oifen fin koinen oleinu, not only in a manner where it's sitting above us. And this is stated in a kefil, in a repetition, because doubling itself represents the idea of something being permanent. It's like when you set your phone to repeat your music recorder or whatever, music player. So you play song repeat. So you can do it twice, or you can do it just, it's on a rotation. It ends and it starts. And it will go forever and ever until the battery goes out, until it crashes, until the phone dies or whatever. It will go, but essentially, from terms of the player, it goes on. So that's the idea. Kefil means that it ends, it repeats again, which means it goes on forever. It's on a loop. And that's why it's showing on Nitzchi. It's like a circle is Nitzchi, because it keeps on going around and around. Kavlayim l'tashiyah. Versus nish nor tzveimol azoifil, which doesn't only represent 2 times as much. Not only twice, just the second time is stronger. But in Kefil is oich verbinden mit der geula nitzchis. Kefil is also connected with the geula and geula nitzchis, which we know that the geula is connected to Kefil. As Chazal say that the double letters are all the letters of the geula. Double chaf, double mem, double pei, double tzadik. Yeah, geula nitzchis, an eternal redemption. Okay, let's learn Sif Ches as well. More specifically, this repetition twice, he's now going to say, Ad a Chiddush. Now, he explained the repetition is the Mishkan and its unification with God should be established, but the first establishment is in a manner where it's considered an outside influence. Second one is, in other words, we're dealing with one connection, the connection of Hashem and the Mishkan, but in two manners. One, in a manner that there's a superpower from above making it happen, and the second inyan is that it should become internalized. It should be from the bottom up, as we say. It should come from within. Now he's going to explain that it's actually speaking on two levels of the work of our hands. We have the work of our hands that we do in making a mishkan, in holiness, and then there is the everyday work in the hands, which means our actions that we do for ourselves, things that we do for earning a livelihood, all of our projects, even those that are not directly involved in a mitzvah, all of our projects, they too should be koineneu, should have a nitzchias, should have a permanence, forever and ever. The godly bracha should enter into all of our deeds, which is presenting more the idea that it's becoming chelik of the world. Not only when we're doing a holy thing, but even when we're doing what looks like a mundane thing, it should last forever. But Pratis Yoiser Api be a Rashi bekefel zeh. Rashi in his explanation on this double says, what does it say two times? The work of our hands should be established. Aleph, the first one is Amalechas HaMishkan Shebirchon Yisroel. He blessed the Jewish people on the work of the Mishkan. V'yispal, and he prayed that the Shechina should dwell upon their actions in the Mishkan. And one of them, that there should actually be a bracha in their own work, in their own businesses. He gave them a bracha that they should be successful in business, whatever they do. That there's a double digga bracha for Moshe. That all of our Ma'aseh Yadeinu should be eternal. Why do we say Ma'aseh Yadeinu? Say Ma'aseh Yadeinu in a Yonah Kedusha. It should apply that when we do holy things, it shouldn't wear off. We shouldn't lose our enthusiasm and excitement. Like we know, right? We take upon ourselves things. We get excited. In the beginning, we're gung-ho on it. And then it starts to wear off. So Moshe Rabbeinu gives a bracha, it should remain permanent. Bedugmas Ma'aseh Mishkan, like the work of the Mishkan. In Saya Ma'aseh Yadeinu and Yonah Reshus V'chol, in our own private things. Ma'asecha, these are your own actions. In Drachecha, this is your own work. V'sagama does an emaisem from bundim et hanagas ha'olam, which even though these are things that are connected to just regular conduct of the world, Git Moshe and Zayarayin the koyach hanitzchias, Moshe empowers them with the power of eternity, U'maiseh Yadeinu koinenehu, that they themselves should be firmly established. U'lahoisef, and to add, Tefillah LaMoshe is a chelik from Tefillah Shabbos. Tefillah LaMoshe, when do we say this? We say it on Shabbos. Pisa is moving on based on this. It's understood as the tefillah is a shaychus miyuchedes with Shabbos. This tefillah has a unique connection dafka to Shabbos. Befrat as mizmor shel yom Shabbos, and specifically since mizmor shel yom Shabbos is a chelik from tefillas Moshe, because first of all it has a shaychus to Shabbos because we say tefillah Moshe Shabbos morning. We don't say it during the week. In addition to that, when Moshe Rabbeinu started to pray over here, we said earlier, he said 11 mizmorim. And in continuation to Tefillah Moshe is Mizmor Shel Yom HaShabbos. From the Yudal Mizmorim, it's not the next one, I think, it's the one after that. Bizaz by Moshe B'Moch. Now, even though it's not really Moshe's Tefillah, as we said earlier, Mizmor Shel Yom HaShabbos was authored by Adam Arishon, which he sang the first Shabbos. But Moshe Rabbeinu, it was forgotten, it says, it got lost. Moshe the Chitshoi, and he renewed the song Al Shemai with his name. Because when we say Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos, the Arizal says, he brings that you're supposed to have kavanah when you say these words, that the first letters of these four words make up Le Moshe, to Moshe. Rosh Tevis Le Moshe. Yeshleim HaShayches, what's the Shayches? So the Rebbe is going to show that in Shabbos itself, it has these two qualities. We spoke earlier. Al-Pasuk Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos, because regarding Shabbos it says, again, powers from beyond, and at the same time, very much integrated with normal, natural existence. Chazal say regarding to Shabbos, iska de Shabbata kafel, that everything about Shabbos is double. In Mavur B'Kama Makom, it's explained in many places. As the kefil is the tzvei dargesh te Shabbos is b'chol Shabbos. That in every Shabbos, Chazal say everything about Shabbos is double. What do we see? When the karbanos of Shabbos was 2 karbanos, shtei kavos. When Hashem gave the commandment on Shabbos, Zochar v'Shomer, it came in double. We take Shabbos, we make two breads, lechem mishnah. And these are the things that we see in Shabbos, that there is double. But so in Chassidus it explains that the doubleness of Shabbos is because there's really 2 Shabbosim in every Shabbos. There's 2 levels, there's the 2 energies in Shabbos. Shabbos is rest, but there's 2 types of rest. One rising from below, and the other one a descending of rest from above. 2 menuchas of Shabbos. Shabbos, Friday night is an elevation. It's a feminine Shabbos. It's going upward. Things are returning back to their source. Shabbos morning is more of a projection, an outward, a more of a flow of energy from a deeper, higher place outward. Ma'ila Shabbata, Friday night, in Yom Shabbata, which in terms of rest, Friday night, you plop into your, you're like, Shabbos is here. So what are you really resting from? The rest is not an internal type of a resting. The rest is the idea that you're not engaged. What you're really feeling mostly is that I'm not doing the laborious activities I was doing during the week, and now no more phone, no more WhatsApps, no more everybody hacking me in the whole world. I can just relax. Right? So that's the ceasing to do. The rest is from work. But then there's another thing called deep rest. You're actually been out of, you've been out of work for already a week, 2 weeks. You're not fatumult, fayukt, and faplukt. You're not, right? So you're resting. But you decide to go in very deep to a place of true tranquility. You're like stopping everything. You're stopping, menucha be'etzem, essential menucha. I don't know what that is, because I don't understand what this means, menucha be'etzem. Al derech the chilik tv'shen Shem Elokim, it's similar to the 2 names, Elokim and Havai. Elokim is the divine, but it's the godly powers that has a relationship to the creation. And then Havaya is the divine as it stands for itself. Shem Elokim, Elokus be'erech habriya, and Shem Havaya, Elokus shalamayla mabriya. So Shabbos Friday night is still shaykh to the name of Elokim, and Shabbos morning is already purely Havaya. And in Shabbos, Kumaz Ebeida Tzazaman, they come together. Kafel means it's not like the whole Shabbos is double. It's similar to the kefil that there is in the beginning of the Mizmor, Tefillah LaMoshe, which Tefillah LaMoshe we said before, Moshe is Havaya, the higher level of godliness. In Ishalukim, which as we said before, shaykh to the name of Elokim, it says Elokim. And B'siyam HaMizmor, you also have the double. Which first of all, Noyam is Shabbos, because Noyam means pleasantness and pleasure. Shabbos is a day of pleasure. And regarding to that, Shabbos to get energy, Ma'aseh Yadeinu Koinenu Aleinu, that's godliness coming from above. That's shaykh, the same like Moshe, Havaya, the transcendental. Ma'aseh Yadeinu Koinenu is from below. Was Noyam is the darga for Shabbos, was derech tarin v'nasiyas hamishkan. Ma'aseh Yadeinu Koinenu Aleinu, Ma'aseh Yadeinu Koinenu, Sai menucha be'erech liyagia da Ma'aseh Yadeinu. There is a menucha that has to do because of the toil that happened with the work of our hands. And sai menucha be'etzem, essential menucha aleinu, something that's beyond us. Ubeklalas yoiser, koineneu and ma'ase, and even more in general. So you have the two ma'ase yadenu that we said, that we get. Shabbos has an impact on the work of Shabbos, which is the rest and everything of Shabbos, and also on the work of the week. That all the labor that we do in the week is elevated on Shabbos, is impacted by Shabbos. So that's like the Elokim and Havaya. You do all your work. This is higher. This is Oleinu. This is Shabbos, which is a transcendental day. Then when you're above your work. So you're not, that's why you're Oleinu. You're higher than it. In Shabbos, Bedugmas Moshe, it's verbunden mit Inyan Nitzchias. And you find that in Shabbos, just like Moshe Rabbeinu, is also Nitzchias. There's the idea of eternity. Ki yedu az b'chol Shabbos is dama ein fin yom shekule Shabbos menucha l'chayei olamim. We know that every Shabbos has a little bit of the time in which we're going to experience eternity. So every Shabbos has, that's why we know that Shabbos is magical. There's something that it does that no other type, no vacation, shmikvacation, nothing can do to you what Shabbos does. Why? Because Shabbos, you're touching upon true eternity and real menucha, as we're going to see. That's when we're going to experience true menucha. Menucha nitzchis, eternal menucha. Because the rest that comes from working, it's like, you rest, and since your whole concept of the rest is that you're not working, so 2 hours later you're already antsy, But if you're experiencing true rest, the deeper rest, that's in the Geula, meyad nigalim kommt durch dem was meshamim shtei Shabbos kechasan. And the Geula, it comes by keeping 2 Shabbat. The zweite is b'chol Shabbos is gekavod. I think the arichos of here in Shabbos is because he's connecting this all to the idea of Shabbos HaGadol with the miracle of Makkah and Mitzrayim b'chareim. I don't have koyach to continue. I'm really exhausted. But this is so special, the rest of it. So we have to figure out a time when we're going to do it. I don't know when. I don't know when. When are we going to finish it? Bothers me not to finish it, but I don't have koyach. So we'll have to figure it out. Maybe Matzah Shabbos. I don't want to say I'll do it because I probably won't, but I want to do it. So if anybody, you want to learn it yourself. Spectacular. He's going to start explaining now how this is all connected to the number 90. And we have to understand that this power is really the power, same idea of the Rebbe was becoming 90. We're talking about the Rebbe power. We're talking about the Mashiach power. The ability to be in the world and be completely and infinite beyond it. Chaim. Everybody should have a wonderful Shabbos on all levels. Menucha be'etzem, menucha from Yegia, and only good.